Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I wanted to do one more video before Christmas and I left it a bit late. I was waiting to hear back from my lawyer last week, and then on Friday I was going to go live with a live stream, and the gremlins got me right at the last minute again. On that live stream I wanted to play a video, an advert of a video I'm doing in the first week of January. And to play that advert, I needed to play the desktop audio from my computer, and the software had defaulted somewhere else. It wouldn't work. And by the time I worked out where that setting was, I'd forgotten what I was going to say. So I cancelled the live stream on Friday. Saturday I was dealing with it. I was Christmas shopping, and I'm going shopping again today. It's actually, I'm recording this quite early on Sunday, the 23rd of December. And regular viewers will know that I'm breaking the house rule of saying the C word on a Sunday. Cyprus is the C word in this house. But I got special permission. We've agreed to break the golden rule again. So that we don't have to say the C word for the next 10 days over the Christmas period. So it would be good for me to give you an update before we go into Christmas, and that will be healthy. So this is a healthy thing. Okay. In this video, I'm going to give you an update to the last live stream. That was on the 4th of December. And on that, I'll be giving an update to my Show Me One campaign. Show Me One Brit who has ever got justice in Cyprus. I'll be playing that advert for my next video in my foundation series. I'll be talking about the Pissouri Village. They've had some press this week, and we'll read a few extracts from them newspapers. And then I'm going to talk about the latest on my case. And actually, in preparing for this today, on Sunday, I discovered something that's really wound me up. So it might be a bit angry I'm leaving this video at the end, and I'm quite concerned how I'm going to leave it on that and then segue into wishing you all a happy Christmas. But we'll get there. Excuse me. Right. Show me one. Okay, like I said in the last video, and I said it towards the end of that video, so I want to do it at the beginning of this one, and I'm actually going to do a very short video which will be under 2 minutes, and I'm going to share that widely. Let me explain. Show me one Brit who has ever got true justice in Cyprus in court. All right, so true justice is obviously he's won his case, he's been awarded true damages, his expenses for attending court, and most importantly his legal fees back. All right, that's justice. I mean, it takes you 13 years to get that far. But at least the offender has been punished. So show me one. And that video had over 650 views between Facebook and YouTube. That's a lot of expats. A lot of lawyers saw that video, and a lot of people in the property industry. And there isn't one so far. Not one Brit has ever got true justice in court in Cyprus. Now, I knew that, obviously, within the property industry, because I've been following this for 13 years. So in those 13 years, I knew no developer or crooked lawyer had ever been punished. But I'm obviously extending that challenge now to anything. All right, show me one Brit who has ever been awarded justice in an assault case. I've been assaulted twice. An assault case. Medical malpractice, any dispute, any civil dispute, even a road traffic accident. All right, just show me one. Now, let's just see this, all right? The scale of the problem. This is an article from the Cyprus Mail from June 2006. So how many Brits are there in Cyprus? And if I scroll down to the bottom of it, there's the answer there. The current number in the Republic of Cyprus is around 65,000 Brits. Okay? We've pumped a lot of money into lawyers and property in Cyprus. And I'm sure those lawyers would like to brag about the successes they've had for the British clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a little video specifically on that subject. It'll be under stating the rules of the challenge. And I'm going to be, in the new year, putting that on Twitter, on Facebook. I'll pay for advertising on Facebook. And I will email that video to every single lawyer on the island. Okay? Now, I'm sure they'd all love to brag of their success stories and show the people who have won their cases and won their legal fees back. And we'll see the results there, because I think you're going to find that it's something very sinister going on in Cyprus. If having a court case that lasts 13, 14 years is not chilling enough, to find out that no one has ever got justice. I know I'm heading towards the European Court of Human Rights. I have little doubt about that. But before I go, I want to do this and advertise this challenge. And obviously, I'm talking about an everyday man in the street, okay? I know some big multinational companies. I know big tobacco has won against the has won damages and got justice in the Cypriot court. I'm not talking about a big company who can afford to bribe a judge. I'm talking about an everyday man in the street. All right? One of the 65,000, one of the 1,200,000 tourists on the island who visit Cyprus. Surely some of them have been assaulted, have been knocked over. All right, just show me one. I'll be right here holding my breath. Okay. I'm going to rush through things. So as you know, I'm doing a foundation series about justice in Cyprus. The first two videos are already out. And number one, at the top there, top left, is an introduction to this channel, Beyond Contempt. The second one was Cyprus silenced in court, showing you how it's impossible for the press to cover your cases. And the third video I said I would release before Christmas, and I haven't done that. The third video is about court transcripts in Cyprus, showing how it's handwritten stenography, or at least it was for me. It's no, you don't get your transcripts, but it was going in for, deeper than that. It's showing why we lose in court, how easy it is for the crooks to get off, and the lack of court transcripts is one of the tools, the weapons they use against you. But that video, I show some examples from my cases, and it kind of goes further than just transcripts. So if I can just show you now the advert to that video, and the full video will be out in January. So in the civil case for my second assault, where we are suing for damages, we had doctors here in the UK travel all the way to the High Court in London to give evidence by video link to explain my injuries. Can you imagine asking doctors to do this? The hassle in setting up a video link from the UK to Cyprus. They had to take a day out from attending patients and travel to London, but these doctors did this. And all their testimony was deemed inconsistent and not credible, cannot be accepted, and is to be totally discarded. Their testimony in this civil case wasn't weighed up against doctors in Cyprus like it should be. There was no conflicting doctors' reports or even opinion. It says here that for the defendant's part, no evidence was produced. My property developer, Karianis, had no witnesses, no evidence, nothing. They brought nothing to court. Now, we have a burden of proof to support our claims in court, but your Cypriot property developer has no such burden. Now, this judge was not a doctor, but she rejected the conclusions of all my doctors, ruling that they cannot be accepted and are to be totally discarded. I have little doubt that that judge found on the balance of probabilities that my doctors were not Greek Cypriot, and that was good enough for the court. We won that case, of course, but like every Brit, we have got nothing for our injuries, no expenses for attending court, no recovery of legal fees, now in the tens of thousands. You win your case, but you lose outright. That money stays in Cyprus, and we have another 7-year wait for the appeal and for those court transcripts. So that's one of 3 adverts for that video. The video's coming in at around 27 minutes. And out of that 27 minutes, I'm learning that you should do little adverts. And that's one of 3 adverts, 2-minute segments that I'm chopping out of that. And I still haven't been on Twitter. I still haven't done a press release about this channel. I still haven't contacted the British High Commission or the Cyprus Mail, but I will do that in January. I'm just building up a little core following first, and getting a bit of content under my belt before I do that. But I will promote those adverts in January because it's out of the Foundation series. That is actually the most important video, I think. Video number 6, when I describe the court case in Cyprus. You can learn a lot from that. But this third one about court transcripts and showing how easy it is for you to lose your case in Cyprus, well, that pretty much explains why the Show Me One campaign will bear no fruit. So it's a very important one. Okay. Also in my last live stream, I covered Leptos Liasides, the Swiss franc mortgage scandal, and I put an appeal out there. But I also covered the village of Pissouri in Cyprus. So there is a slow-moving landslide in the village of Pissouri. Now, insurers in Cyprus, they don't cover natural disasters. They're not going to cover your landslide, your landslip, your earthquake. That's the government's responsibility to rehouse or compensate the owners. And this has been going on for years. Now, there was some press this week. So this is the Cyprus Mail. And this is a good advert, good article, because it shows the experience of some of the residents there. And I'll read out some quotes from that. This was a completely different article, but the same week, from the In Cyprus Magazine. And the In Cyprus Magazine, if you're new to the press in Cyprus, that's actually an online English-speaking version of this Greek Cypriot newspaper. And they do the In Cyprus for the expat community. That article is also covered in the Cyprus Property News, and all 3 places are worth going to, because the Cyprus Property News also has the video, the BBC programme on the village that was broadcast last month, and it also has down here a lot more photos showing the damage to the village. But let's just we'll cover the In Cyprus magazine first. So, on that magazine, they're heavily quoting the lawyer, Georgia Elena Zoe. She's from the Pissouri Housing Initiative Group. And within that article, she says that the village is mainly inhabited by British and British Cypriot pensioners. The state is dragging its feet and refusing to pay compensation. The government should stop pretending that it's the fault of the studies and admit that there is a landslide, to compensate those who have sustained damage, and to issue title deeds. The state authorities have no evacuation plan for a cause of natural disaster in the area, and the government is waiting for the residents to leave or die. It's unacceptable for the state to not take care of its citizens and to expect from them to respond to natural disasters on their own. All right. Admit, let's go back here, look, to some of these pictures. They want the government to stop pretending and admit that there is a landslide. Look at that. Can you imagine what these people are going through? Having to convince the government, you know what, it's actually a landslide, the whole village is gone. And can you do the right thing? And as the lawyers say, the government are waiting for them to leave or die. I said in my live stream, can you imagine if there was a village of Cypriots here in the UK who were victim to a natural disaster? Imagine if we ignored them and waited for them to leave or die. And let me just give you here, look. This is from the National Federation. Move me out the way. This is from the National Federation of Cypriots in the UK. So I said there's 65,000 Brits, isn't there, there in Cyprus. Here in the UK, there's currently 300,000 Cypriots living in the UK. Imagine if we treated them like that. I said in my last video that if there was a problem of such a scale in this country, that these poor people would be pulled, told to come to the House of Commons, and they would have lawyers working pro bono, human rights groups fighting for them. And their own lawyer is saying that the government wants them to leave or die. All right, this is a family. BJ Brown is the journalist who's covering the story for the Cyprus Mail, and she's interviewed these family. I won't read it all. I've just made some notes here. But let me tell you here, this is Debbie Evans. She's 49 from Wales, is a mother of two who bought in 2005, the same year we bought. Their children are the same age as ours, actually. The children grew up there and speak Greek, and the family has integrated into the village and felt part of it. So they bought in 2005, but it's only 15 months ago that cracks started to appear in the house, and the outside of the house now has completely gone. There is no swimming pool anymore. They've had to fill that in. So it's a big mound of earth. All right, it's a heartbreaking story. They say that they now feel completely alienated in the village. Nobody wants to know. They treat us like, oh, they're only expats. They don't matter. That's the feeling you get. They're British. They can afford it. But the fact is, she says, we've got a mortgage on the property, and it's the only property we've got. The house is now worth nothing. The government don't even pretend to be interested. It's terrible, really hard. All right, it's really worth a read. It's I've just given you some little parts here. The next couple BJ Brown interviews is the retirees Kate and her husband Peter Field, and he's a former British Army colonel. And actually, his whole story, if you even go to my website or to Nigel Howard's Cyprus Property News, you can see you can see this couple interviewed by the BBC. So that's really worth a look. Yeah, it's a shocking story, and like I say, you don't have to go any further than the village of Pissouri to see how British are treated in Cyprus. And do read the comments too. If you go here, let me see here. If you go to the Cyprus Mail article, scroll down and read the comments, all right? Let me just read out the top comment from a guy called Andrew Sharp. And he says, having lived in Cyprus for 41 years, this situation and most others in Cyprus are the fault of the Cypriot mentality and way of life. There is no law and order, no justice, no rules and no regulations in Cyprus. The foreigners always leave one day. one way or another, or are second or third or fourth class citizens. Nothing will ever change. Get used to it or leave. Seen it too many times and sadly understand it oh so well. Graciously, not all Cypriots are like this, but most are, and when push comes to shove, we as foreigners, and in most cases, justice will not be served. And please, do not expect justice to be served equally in Cyprus. It will not. And this is the problem in Cyprus, and it will never change. Can you change the DNA of anyone? Okay, read the comments. Okay, let's end now by giving you an update on my situation. And this is where things could get a little tense. Okay, I'm waiting for my appeal in Cyprus for my case. Now, we bought property in 2005. The case started in March 2006. That's when the case was filed, March 2006. I mean, it was a different world back then, wasn't it? This is before the financial crash. Tony Blair was Prime Minister, 2006. But the case had finished in the lower courts in Cyprus in September 2012. Right? Over 6 years for the lower courts. This thing would have been over in a year in the UK courts, but it took 6 years for the lower courts. And in that lower court decision, it was found that my property developer had unlawfully breached the contract, had kept all my money, had sold my house to somebody else, and that my contract was still in the land registry. This was all fact. But I obviously got no damages for what they did. I got not a penny for rent. I got not a penny for attending court, for all them flights, for the years of all the flying backs, not a penny for accommodation, car hire, attending court, nothing. I didn't get a penny in legal fees back. So I won my case, but I lost outright, big time. Also, there was, I suffered a national record for defamation. Was laid down on me, and I was told not to tell anyone of what happened. Okay, that's why I'm in contempt of court, and this channel is called Beyond Contempt. All right, so we're appealing that, and my appeal number you see there in green is case number 435/2012. Okay, so in my last video, I showed you, I started to show you all the cases that have been gone through the Cypriot courts that were filed after mine. And I'd like to give you a little update on that. So this is the CY Law database. And every week I go to this database and I see how bad things are dragging for me and my family. And since that last live stream on the 4th of December, 9 civil cases have been published. And out of that 9, 7 were cases that were filed after mine. You can see here that most cases are actually criminal cases. This will be a criminal case. The case numbers are from 2018, and criminal cases take priority over civil. But there you go, there's a civil case. And you can see it's at the bottom of my list there now, 498/2012. I mean, who do you have to bribe to even get your case heard in Cyprus? Try and tell me that this list here, all right, is not corruption. What are they going to say? Oh no, Connor, that's bigotry, that's xenophobia, that's not corruption. We know that's corruption. I can't even get my case heard. I'm just about to spend my 13th year in rented accommodation that I'm paying for. 13 years, my kids have been brought up in rented accommodation. I was buying mortgage-free as a cash buyer in Cyprus, and now we have nothing. Can't even get my case heard. I mean, the Minister of Justice has recently said that the corruption in Cyprus is now unfathomable. Unfathomable, although sometimes they say, but it's never entered the judiciary, although the EU in their reports disagree. All right? Corruption is unfathomable. I think you're missing a trick here, Mr. Justice Minister. I think because them 65,000 Brits in Cyprus, we're all paying our lawyers. We could be paying the judiciary as well. You should have barcodes stamped on your head. We could be paying the staff and the judges. Beep, beep. And all these cases have been called to court, they've been heard in court, the judges have gone away to deliberate, and then the verdicts have been published. I could be a year behind these cases. And if you look at any of these cases, you will see that I was a year behind them when they came up in the lower courts as well. So this week I was chasing just to get my day in court. You don't have, all right, equal access to your rights in Cyprus either. That Andrew, he just said there in that comment that you're third or fourth class citizen. You can't even prove that in court. The other thing I was doing this week, and this is actually what got me fired up this morning, it wasn't even the case numbers. I knew that on Friday. It was my legal aid, which I was chasing up this week as well. Let me tell you about cross-border legal aid in a civil case, all right? It's something that all EU members sign up to. It's an EU directive. And it's to put you on an equal footing with your opponent. Is to make sure that you have a fair trial. Now, by the time my case for my property issue had come to court, I just spent 3 years attending court for the assaults that my property developer had done to me. 3 years. That's 3 years of flying back and forth. I don't know, 20, 30 trips, hotels, car hire, flights, and of course the legal fees as well. Can you imagine? So by the time my main case came, we had no more money left. Remember, my developer had kept all the money that I had paid for the house. So that's where they thought they got me, that I couldn't afford to carry on. But this was my lifesaver, or so I thought. Cross-border legal aid, an EU directive. This is a Cyprus Mail article, and it was only this morning I noticed the date on it. It's December the 23rd, 2011. Happy birthday. 7 years ago today, the Cyprus Mail published this article. O'Dwyer aid marks a Cyprus legal first. Happy birthday. Let me just read a little bit about it here. British homebuyer Conor O'Dwyer has been granted legal aid to continue his long-running civil case against the Paralimni-based property developer Christofos Karianas and Son Limited over a disputed property. In a short hearing yesterday morning, Judge Economou at Famagusta District Court said the aid was necessary, pointing to the EU directive which deals with cross-border disputes within the EU. My lawyer is also quoted here, Yanis Georgiadis. It says, if Connor was not granted this legal aid, this would be equal to the refusal of his rights to justice, Georgiadis added. Well, that legal aid was never paid. We went through the whole of the case in 2012 without any legal aid, and our case suffered badly because of it. So I had to fly back and forth to Cyprus, attending court. I paid for the flights, the car hire, the accommodation, and of course, the legal fees, which I ran up on the credit cards. We couldn't afford the expert witnesses, but what good would they have done? You just saw in the other advert what they do to your expert witnesses in Cyprus. So we never got that legal aid. I should write to the Cyprus Mail. That's what I'm kicking myself about. Dear editor, with regard to your letter of the 23rd of December 2011, I never got that. It's fake news. That's what I was doing this week, was fighting that. Trying to get my legal aid for my appeal. And you know where the Honourable Judge Economou sits now? Where does he reside? He's now a Supreme Court judge, the top judge on the island, one of them. You know the Supreme Court, you remember them. The Supreme Court, where they won't even call my case, that's where he resides. And I know where this is going, because not only did it happen to me in the lower courts, it's happened to others too. By the time my case does go to the Supreme Court, I'm going to have to halt proceedings again. And I'm going to have to say, hold on a minute. Where's my legal aid? Where's my transcripts for the lower courts? Where's my translator? Whoa, hold on. Where's my rights to an equal hearing? And they're going to stop the case. And they're going to send me home. And then at the end, they're going to blame me for the 13-year delay, even though I've been after this for years. That's why I'm doing these videos. So when you see me outside the Supreme Court next year, protesting, know that I didn't just turn up on a whim. I may have a new audience because of the protests I'm going to do in Cyprus next year. I'm going to be protesting outside the Supreme Court, lawyers' offices, and of course my developer. But there'll be new people and I'll be able to show them these videos. That's why I'm doing this. And you'll be able to see, he didn't just turn up there on that day and the court wasn't ready. He had no translator, no transcripts or no legal aid. He knew that, and that's why he's rolled out this professional banner. And he's got a load of expats with him. That's where Judge Economou is now. And you know, he wouldn't recuse himself either in that case back in 2012. He'd already acted against us in a different case. He wouldn't step aside. We knew we weren't going to get a fair hearing. Top judge on the island now. Okay. So that's where I am at in Christmas. 13 years now. I don't think anyone in Cyprus gives a damn, to be honest. Oh, right. I think I've woken up the house now. Oh dear, humbug. I've got to go shopping now. I'm going to go to Starbucks. Then I'm going to have a breakfast at the Wetherspoons in Epsom. Going to do a little bit of Christmas shopping, chill. And I won't upload this video till Sunday evening. I'm not going to throw it up now. So look, I'm going to leave it there. I should have done this video last week, but like I say, I was waiting for news from my lawyer, and that delayed things. But I'd like to thank you all for watching this video and for all your help and support over the last few months since I've gone live on this channel. I've met some great people, Greek Cypriots, British-born Cypriots here in London, and of course the expats community too. So I really want to thank you all for your support. I'm going to make some New Year's resolutions. As you can see, I'm going to be fighting this next year, and I'm going to get fit. New Year's resolution. I hope you all do some try and effect a change next year. If you can, please share the hell out of this video over the holiday season. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a like on YouTube. Please subscribe to that channel. I know most of my audience is on Facebook, but I really need the subscriptions on YouTube. Go to my website, BeyondContempt. And look, that's it. I want to wish you all a very happy Christmas. All right? You know, just give your loved ones a kiss and a hug. And don't have nightmares. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you on the first week back in Jan. Bye-bye for now.